The Philippines is home to more than 115 million people. It is a nation that has endured devastating typhoons, powerful earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and a global pandemic that brought entire industries to a standstill. Time and time again, Filipinos have faced hardship and emerged stronger, carrying a spirit of resilience that has become their trademark. But on one unforgettable afternoon, something happened that made the entire country erupt, not in sorrow, not in struggle, but in pure joy. On a sunlit grass court in Birmingham, England, a moment unfolded that sent shockwaves across the Philippines. From the crowded streets of Manila to the distant rice terraces of Ifugao, from busy shopping centers in Cebu to the peaceful shores of Palawan, people stopped whatever they were doing to watch history being made. And when the final point was won, the nation exploded with celebration. There were tears. There were hugs. There were prayers, songs, cheers, and countless voices shouting in disbelief. This was far more than a tennis match. It was a national moment, one destined to be remembered for generations. At the center of it all stood Alexandra Eala. The young Filipina star delivered a performance so extraordinary, so fearless, and so completely unexpected that it left fans, analysts, and even her opponents stunned. Today on Top Spin, we're taking you inside that remarkable performance point by point, emotion by emotion. We'll show you how the Philippines reacted in real time and explain why this victory could become the defining moment of Alexandra Eala's career. Subscribe to Top Spin for exclusive tennis coverage, unforgettable match breakdowns, and the stories that make sports truly special. Saturday, June 27th, 2026. The semi-finals of the Birmingham Classic. Center court at the Edgbaston Priory Club. Standing across the net was no underdog, no qualifier, no lucky loser. This was one of the toughest challenges Alexandra Eala had ever faced. Her opponent was Ludmila Samsonova, the world number 15, a powerful Russian star with multiple WTA titles and victories over some of the biggest names in women's tennis. Samsonova's game was built on raw power. Her serve was feared. Her ground strokes were explosive. Commentators often joked that she hit the ball hard enough to crack concrete. On paper, the matchup seemed heavily tilted in Samsonova's favor. She was stronger, more experienced, higher ranked. Most betting markets listed her as the clear favorite. Tennis experts predicted Eala's remarkable run would finally come to an end. One British commentator summed up the general feeling before the match. Alexandra Eala has had a wonderful tournament, but Samsonova is a different level. This is where the fairy tale ends. What happened next turned that prediction into one of the biggest miscalculations of the season. The match began at 1:30 p.m. local time. Eala walked onto the court wearing her green and yellow outfit, calm and composed. There was no sign of nerves, no sign of intimidation. She looked completely at ease, as though she belonged on that stage. Samsonova opened the match serving. Ace, 15-0. Another ace, 30-0. A third ace, 40-0. The crowd murmured. This was exactly what many had feared. Samsonova's serve was one of the most dangerous weapons on tour, capable of ending points before they even began. But Eala never appeared rattled. She stayed patient. She waited. She studied. Then, at 40-0, Samsonova missed her first serve. Eala attacked immediately. She stepped inside the baseline and unleashed a blistering backhand return that flew beyond Samsonova's reach. 40-15. A deep return forced another error. 40-30. Then came a perfectly measured lob that landed inches from the baseline. Deuce. The crowd rose to its feet. Samsonova looked puzzled. For the first time all tournament, her serve wasn't controlling the match. Eala had come prepared. She had spent hours studying Samsonova's tendencies. She knew the second serve could be attacked. She knew that deep returns would force longer rallies. Most importantly, she knew she could make Samsonova uncomfortable. The plan worked perfectly. Against all expectations, Eala broke serve in the very first game. Filipino flags began waving wildly around center court. Fans could hardly believe what they were witnessing. And that was only the beginning. Over the next 87 minutes, Alexandra Eala produced the finest tennis of her career. She didn't merely defeat Samsonova. She dismantled her. The final score read 6-3, 6-2. Eala won 72% of her first serve points. She converted 5 of 7 break opportunities. She struck more winners and controlled the majority of the crucial exchanges. Yet statistics alone cannot capture what happened that afternoon. The true story lives in the moments. A breathtaking backhand passing shot struck while sliding off balance. A forehand that clipped the line by the narrowest of margins. A perfectly disguised drop shot that left Samsonova frozen. A precision lob that landed in the only available space on the court. And finally, on match point, a serve so effective that Samsonova could only frame the return high into the stands. The match was over. History had been made. Eala didn't collapse to the ground. She didn't burst into tears. Instead, she simply raised both arms toward the sky and smiled. It was a calm smile, the smile of someone who had always believed she belonged among the best. The crowd responded with a standing ovation. Filipino supporters wiped tears from their eyes. Even Samsonova, gracious in defeat, embraced Eala at the net and exchanged a few quiet words before leaving the court. Later, speaking to reporters, Samsonova offered perhaps the greatest compliment of all. She was unplayable today. I've faced many great players, but today Alex seemed to have an answer for everything. And judging by what the world had just witnessed, very few would disagree. She had an answer for everything. I couldn't expose a single weakness. Now, let's travel more than 6,700 miles east, from Birmingham to Manila. While the crowd in England celebrated under the afternoon sun, it was already 8:30 on a Saturday night in the Philippines. Across the country, millions of people were glued to screens. Families crowded into living rooms. Friends packed restaurants and bars. Commuters streamed the match on their phones. Entire communities paused their evening plans to witness what was unfolding. This wasn't just another sporting event. It was becoming a national phenomenon. The match was broadcast live across the Philippines, and the audience. Numbers were staggering. Tens of millions tuned in to watch Alexandra Eala challenge one of the world's best players. For a country that has long searched for a global tennis superstar, this felt like a dream becoming reality in real time. And the scenes across the nation were unforgettable. At the SM Mall of Asia in Pasay City, giant screens lit up the central atrium as thousands gathered to watch. Every balcony was crowded. Every floor was packed. Security personnel attempted to keep order, only to find themselves watching the match alongside everyone else. When Eala captured the opening set, the roar echoed through the building. When she secured another crucial break in the second set, the atmosphere became electric. People embraced strangers. Some wiped away tears. Others simply stood frozen in disbelief. For many, this wasn't just about tennis. It was about seeing a Filipina stand on one of the sport's biggest stages and refuse to back down. In a small neighborhood store in Tonda, one of Manila's most densely populated districts, children gathered around a television no larger than a laptop screen. The store owner had watched them cheer through every point. When Eala finally won, she celebrated in the only way she could. She handed out free sodas to every child in the store. It wasn't a grand gesture, but it meant everything. Across social media, the reaction was immediate. Videos of celebrations spread like wildfire. Watch parties filled timelines. Emotional messages poured in from every corner of the country. Parents posted photos of daughters picking up tennis rackets. Coaches shared stories of young players inspired by what they had just witnessed. One photo captured the mood perfectly. An 8-year-old girl stood smiling while holding a homemade tennis racket crafted from household materials. Beneath the image, her father wrote, "Tonight, my daughter started believing she could be like Alex." That simple message resonated with millions. Because that's what moments like this do. They create possibility. Even government leaders joined the celebration. Public officials praised Eala's achievement and highlighted the pride her performance had brought to the nation. For one evening, politics, business, and daily concerns faded into the background. The entire country was united behind one athlete. But while the celebrations continued, another challenge was already waiting: the final. And standing on the other side of the net would be one of the biggest obstacles of Eala's career. Katie Boulter, world number 22, Britain's top-ranked player, the hometown favorite, the player who would have an entire nation cheering her every move. Boulter earned her place in the championship match after surviving a grueling 3-set battle that lasted nearly 2.5 hours. By the end, she looked exhausted, but she was smiling. She knew what awaited her: a chance to win a title on home soil, and a chance to stop the hottest player in the tournament. The matchup couldn't have been more intriguing. The two had met before. Their previous encounter came at Eastbourne in 2025, where Boulter emerged victorious in 3 hard-fought sets. But this was not the same Alex Eala. The player Boulter faced a year earlier was still learning how to win at the highest level. This version was different. This version had confidence. This version had experience. This version had already defeated elite competition and proven she belonged among the world's best. Most importantly, this version no longer viewed herself as an underdog. She expected to win. The crowd would undoubtedly be a major factor. Every Boulter winner would trigger an eruption from the stands. Every Eala error would be met with disappointment from thousands of British fans. Yet Eala appeared completely unfazed. She had competed in hostile environments before. She had dealt with pressure, expectations, and controversy. Those experiences had hardened her. Still, finals are different. A final carries a unique weight. One match, one opportunity, one chance to make history. When reporters asked Eala how she felt about facing Boulter in front of a partisan crowd, her response revealed exactly why she had become such a dangerous competitor. "I respect Katie. She's a great player, and she'll have the crowd behind her. But I'm not playing against the crowd. I'm playing against the ball. And I know how to hit the ball." That is the mindset of a champion. Not focused on noise. Not focused on pressure. Focused only on the next point. And after what she had done against Samsonova, nobody was willing to doubt her anymore. Because the deeper you looked into that semi-final performance, the more remarkable it became. The scoreline alone didn't tell the story. The details did. Start with the return game. Samsonova possesses one of the most feared serves on the WTA Tour. Against most opponents, her serve dictates matches. But Eala refused to give her that advantage. Instead of retreating behind the baseline, she stepped forward. She attacked. She took the ball early. She forced Samsonova to play under pressure. It's a risky strategy. One mistimed return, and the point is over. But Eala trusted her instincts and committed fully. The result was devastating. Then there was her movement. At times, it felt as though she was covering every inch of the court. Shots that appeared untouchable somehow came back. Angles that should have produced winners became rallies. One exchange in particular spread across social media within minutes. Samsonova fired a forehand into what looked like open space. The point seemed finished. Except Eala somehow reached it. She sprinted, stretched, and flicked a backhand cross-court winner while fully extended. The crowd erupted. Samsonova simply stared. Even she couldn't believe what had happened. That single point captured the entire match. Speed, instinct, courage, and absolute belief. Then there was the mental battle. This may have been Eala's greatest advantage of all. As the match slipped away, frustration began creeping into Samsonova's game. Her body language changed. Her confidence wavered. Meanwhile, Eala remained composed. Point after point, game after game. She never rushed. She never panicked. She simply kept applying pressure until the result became inevitable.